What's up, everybody? Nick here today from Tough Body Fitness. Today I wanted to go over a list of reasons why you should be starting slow and tapering back into getting into the gym. This list isn't necessarily in order of importance, it's just my logical progression of how I make sense of explaining this. So the first thing is retraining your motor programming. Your motor programming is what is stored in your muscles and in your brain, specifically your basal ganglia. And what it basically is your muscle memory. And really what your muscle memory is the coding in your muscles that allows you to perform all the movements in your daily life, and especially are important when you're learning heavy compound movements so you can perform them more efficiently. So you have to relearn a squat, a bench, or a deadlift every time you go back into the gym. It's what stores that information for the next time you do it. And generally, the more you do it, the deeper ingrained that motor patterning is going to be in your pre-basal ganglia and in your satellite cells. Satellite cells are another reason that I want to discuss that I'm going to discuss later in the video. But the next reason I want to discuss for why you should go slowly getting back into the gym is what I like to call the newbie gains phase. So it's when you're coming out of detraining and you're getting back into things. And what this really is, just for some context, when you first get into the gym, you're first learning how to work out way back when, and you're making a lot of progress right off, and you really think it's just going to keep exponentially getting you bigger and bigger and stronger, because in those first couple weeks or first couple months and even to a year, you made a lot of progress quickly. But most of the progress you made was due to, one, you weren't sensitized, you weren't used to the stimulus that was being provided to your body, as well as neuromuscular adaptations. So training those motor programs that we talked about, as well as training more motor units to be recruited to your muscles, so you can have a higher level of efficiency in that as well. So if you're doing a bicep curl, having more of the muscle fibers in your bicep contract succinctly, which they both kind of come hand in hand. Motor unit recruitment as well as motor patterning. So what this means for us is, now that we're getting back into the gym, we should be kind of treating it like that. Treat ourselves like a newbie, because you shouldn't be throwing a ton of weight in your back, the numbers that you're performing in the gym, but that doesn't mean we also have lost a lot of progress because of the things that I've been talking about. So going slow and working through all your heavy compound movements, especially relearning the patterns and taking the time to grease the groove, as a lot of lifters say, will really help you in the long run to prevent injury and to get most of the progress that you lost back much faster than you would expect to experience change in adaptation than you would have if you hadn't taken this break. So increased rate of progress return. The next thing that I want to talk about that kind of piggybacks off of that, just because you're having this newbie gains phase doesn't mean you've lost a lot of muscle mass, as we've talked about before, because most of the adaptations are neurological. You could experience this uptick in progress coming back, but that doesn't mean it's all due to muscle loss. Especially if you were in a calorie surplus or at minimum calorie maintenance, most of the research shows that most of your muscle mass will be retained due to these satellite cells, as well as your daily activities of living. This is because the minimum required volume to keep muscle is much lower than the required volume to increase muscle. So as long as you've been moving around, at least doing some of your body weight workouts at home, these really will help to maintain most of your muscle, if not keep pretty much all of it. Next on the list isn't necessarily its own piece of information, but it's a little bit of a deeper look into what we've been talking about. And I think having this deeper understanding gives you a little bit more of a why, because you understand the interworkings going on behind what you're doing. So first I want to talk about satellite cells. Satellite cells are really just a precursor cell to multiple cells in your muscle tissue. They are responsible for, one, the regeneration of new muscle tissue, as well as they are responsible for being generated into myonuclei. And myonuclei are really just nucleus for muscles. Myo meaning muscle, which is just the root word. So really, in biology class you learned about the nucleus. The nucleus of the cell controls all the information. It stores the DNA. Same thing for the myonuclei. And specifically, that's why we talk about satellite cells controlling the muscle memory, because they're responsible for generating the nucleus of the cell, which stores that information. So the next thing that I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into is neuromuscular adaptation. And it really goes hand in hand with satellite cells, because satellite cells are what store the information that is being received from the nervous system, or I should say, the nervous system sends signals to the muscles. They use that information for the rate coding, which is just the speed in which your muscles can perform movements. The more you do those movements, the more efficiently you can do them. And obviously, the more comfortable and more efficient you are in movement, the faster you can do it correctly. That's why we talk about going slow, slowly building up speed, and slowly building up weight. The next thing on my list is that killing yourself in the gym, really grinding out reps, and forcing yourself through all this trouble of this desensitization phase, or I should say resensitization phase, isn't really going to get you that much bigger, that much stronger, that much faster anyways. And this has been shown by much of the research involving RPE. RPE is the rate of perceived exertion, and all this is when you're working out, you're benching, and you completely reach failure, you physically couldn't get it up anymore. Someone put a gun to your head, said, do another rep. You can't do another rep. Your muscles are completely fatigued. No matter what happens, it's not going up. No more contractions are going to occur enough so that that barbell goes up. And most of the research showing this shows that the most effective way to train is between 7 to 9 reps in reserve. So how many reps you have left before you reach that complete point of failure. So in discussion and context of what we're talking about, going to failure every set isn't really going to get you to where you want to be that much faster, especially because you've reached this desensitization phase. Your body's ceiling for recovery and just managing all this new stress that it's experiencing is going to be much lower. But that's a good thing. So we can take the time, we can work out a little bit less and still make that progress, just like we would have when we were new lifters. When you're a new lifter, you can show up to the gym twice a week, kind of have to, and still make decent progress for at least the first year or two of your training. And then you got to get a little bit more serious and you got to start incorporating new things. But in this context, we don't really have to worry about including every physical training paradigm and every single tip or trick to get our gains back as fast as we possibly can. You just got to get back in, go slow, relearn the patterns, and then you can slowly get back to your new training. So that's really all I have today on my list, guys. If there was anything else you think I missed, please leave in the comments below, and I'll make sure to respond to pretty much all the comments because this is my first video, so I'm assuming there's not going to be that many. Just let me know what you guys think. If you like the video, please leave it a like. If you're interested in some more content, please subscribe, and thank you, and have a good day.